Hi guys! Welcome to my channel, Pinay Mom's Vlogs. I'm a Filipino mom living here in Amsterdam with my Dutch husband and our 2 boys. And on this episode, I will share with you my top 10 reasons why I love living here in the Netherlands. And we're starting right this minute. Just to give you a starting point for our video today, I'm from Manila, Philippines, and I've been living here in the Netherlands for about 10 years now. So yes, actually, I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time and finally got the chance to do it. But before I moved here in the Netherlands, I was actually living in the US. I was living in California for about 10 years. And I actually met my husband there in LA. I also lived in the Middle East with my parents and my siblings when we were younger. So I've pretty much experienced living in a different environment and different cultures other than my own. And I know that in my title it says top 10 reasons, but all the way at the end, I would like to tell you also one major reason why I love living here in this country, which is not going to be included on my top 10 list, but it is equally as important a reason for me. So if you're planning to come here to visit or move here as an expat for work or for love, then let me tell you and let me share with you the 10 reasons why I love living here in the Netherlands. So then let's start with my number 10 reason. Number 10 reason: water is potable everywhere. The Netherlands has a very strict water treatment standards, and the tap water has to meet biological and chemical safety requirements. So generally speaking, you can actually drink straight from the tap or the faucet here in this country without being worried whether it's safe to drink or not. So if you find the tap water in parks or drinking fountains everywhere around Amsterdam or other cities, they're actually very potable. And even tap waters in bathrooms in hotels or in theme parks, they're also very safe to drink because they all came from the same water pipe system. So it's generally safe to drink here, and it actually costs much less than buying bottled water. It's also environmentally friendly. Because I remember that when I was living in the US, of course that depends on the city where you live in, I actually opted to get a water filter for our tap water. Or sometimes we just get bottled water as drinking water. This also is the same for certain households back home in the Philippines. So because of that, I prefer and I actually like the idea that when I drink water here in the Netherlands, I know that it's generally safe. Number 9 reason: it has a good system of waste disposal and management. Generally speaking, and this probably depends on the city where you're in, but generally speaking, the Dutch is very keen on separating their wastes, and people in different municipalities are encouraged to do so. Now, here in Amsterdam, they have a waste separation strategy where most neighborhoods follow. We have different bins for different types of waste. So for example, a different bin for glass, for plastics, for paper, and other residual wastes that they call them. They're all collected separately. And for us in the household, it might be a little bit of an extra work, but through time you'll get used to it. You'll have your own system of disposing your different kinds of wastes. Plus, it's environmental friendly if you dispose of your waste properly, because some still go to recycling facilities. Now, for bigger items or trash that does not get to fit in your designated bins, there is a local garbage dump that you can go to, or every month we actually have a garbage collection truck that comes to the neighborhood and picks up garbage on designated areas in the street. So you can actually leave your items the night before, and then they collect it in the morning. So that actually is pretty good. Number 8 are the meal boxes or the maaltijdpakketje that you see in grocery stores. Now, not too long ago, probably just a couple of years back, HelloFresh, which is a food delivery service, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, they become popular here in the Netherlands. And other food delivery services followed suit, like the Marley Spoon or the Merlijnko. But this also triggered grocery stores to produce what they call maaltijdpakketjes or meal boxes. And these became very convenient for me in preparing dinner here at home. So these are actually prepackaged ingredients for one complete dish, but it does exclude like the fresh ingredients, like for example meat or fish or eggs. And these pakketjes are actually available in major supermarkets, but also in B brand stores. These are more affordable with less waste of ingredients, and because of that, you still have more freedom to adjust your flavors according to your taste. So it's more cook-worthy for me. I really like this idea because I don't get to waste too many of the ingredients or the vegetables that I use, and it's pretty much perfect size for our family of 4. Number 7, birthday celebrations are less of a hassle. Now don't get me wrong, birthdays are after all celebrated differently between different households, and if you're celebrating with a household with Filipinos like ours, then expect a lot of food, because whether you celebrate in the Philippines or in the US or anywhere in the world, Filipinos celebrate birthdays with a lot of food. But generally speaking, here in the Netherlands, you won't go wrong celebrating someone's birthday with just coffee, tea, and cakes. You won't feel worried that people will say, "Is that it? Yun lang?" when you serve food during birthdays here in the Netherlands. It's more of a social affair here actually. It's more of mingling and chatting and catching up, and it's not really too much of food and eating. And if you are going to provide a heavier meal, like for example, you are going to offer dinner as well, or lunch for that matter, then you have to let them know ahead of time so as not to interfere with their own schedules at home. And for me, what I like the most about the idea of birthday celebrations is also the idea of a traktatie, where I could just give goodie bags to my kids' classmates in school if you do have kids at home, and that is actually very convenient. And then if they want, they can still invite a handful of friends at home, so in effect it's really not too busy. Now number 6, the Netherlands has a wide variety of breads and spreads. What I love here in this country is that you have easy access to freshly made breads every day. And they also have a wide variety of breads to choose from. Now here in our neighborhood, we live very close to a local grocery store. So if we run out of bread here at home, or we feel like snacking a kaasbroodje or a krentenbollen, kaasbroodje is actually some sort of a cheese bread, and krentenbollen is like a bread roll with raisins. We can just quickly walk around the corner here in our local grocery store and buy some. Also, groceries here provide a wide variety of spreads and toppings, from cheese spreads to meat spreads, something sweet, something savory. And I love it that they come also in family packs, so it's just enough for a week's use, so it doesn't get spoiled or it doesn't stay too long in the fridge. So that is actually very convenient. Number 5, we're obviously going to talk about cycling. And what I like about this country is that there are designated areas for cycling. The Dutch is widely known for its cycling infrastructure, and I'm very happy about this. There are cycling paths everywhere. There are protected intersections, so those are the areas when you cross on an intersection together with the cars or the trams, and these are relatively safe. And there are also places to park your bike everywhere. Now, safely, that's a question, but generally speaking, you're fine to park your bike anywhere here in the Netherlands. And this is something that I feel very comfortable with, especially with regards to kids cycling, because if you don't know, cycling is a very popular mode of transport here in the Netherlands. I personally am mostly a car user myself. I'm not very good at cycling, but whenever I cycle here, I feel safe. And when our kids cycle with us, we can also feel that the cars next to us take extra care when they're driving next to us. Motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians here follow the right-of-way rules, so that makes us feel extra safe. Back home in the Philippines, in the suburbs, and even more so in the urban areas, there's always a risk because you share the road with all other motorists. And in the US, well, I can only speak for California, but cycling paths there are present but very limited, or I think you can mostly see them in parks or in the suburbs. But you can't really compare that here in the Netherlands. Number 4, as a mom, this is one big reason why I love living here in the Netherlands. There are parks and playgrounds everywhere. When I was getting to know my husband and I went to check out his neighborhood on Google Earth, the first thing I noticed was 2 patches of land on opposite ends of the road that looked like playgrounds. So I said to myself, how convenient if you have kids. And true enough, my kids do play there a lot nowadays. And everywhere we go, whenever we visit a friend's house or we get invited to some event or an occasion, there's always a playground nearby for our kids to spend their time in. Even restaurants or certain businesses, they have play areas for the kids. So for example, if you have an appointment where you bring your kids with you, there's always a little kiddie corner for them. And also parks are everywhere here in this country. There are 20 national parks spread all over the country, on top of the many recreational parks around the Netherlands. Here in Amsterdam alone, we have 30 parks spread all over the city. And actually, from where we live here, there's at least 2 to 3 parks within a 5-kilometer radius. So that's a lot of green in this country. Number 3, they have a good healthcare system. The Netherlands is on the top 20 best healthcare in the world, ranking at number 17, while the United States is ranked 37 and the Philippines is ranked number 60. This is based on the 2020 paper presented to the World Health Organization, and the title of the paper is Measuring Overall Healthcare System Performance in 191 Countries. The Netherlands has a universal type of healthcare, so everybody here is required to have basic healthcare coverage, or what they call the basisverzekering. Even if you're working here or you already have an insurance from another country, it's mandatory to have basic healthcare insurance. Basic healthcare insurance covers medical care, medicines, and hospital stays. And to my understanding, the basic healthcare insurance costs around 100 euros per month. Plus, you can have additional coverage depending on your needs, like dental or physical therapy. And of course, you pay extra for that. Now, children here less than 18 are insured via their parents. And if necessary, it can be covered without additional costs under a supplementary health insurance of their parents. So in that respect, I feel very happy to have my family and raising kids here in this country because their healthcare is pretty much taken care of. Another thing that I like being a mom here in the Netherlands, and a number 2 reason why I like living here in this country, is because schools are affordable. The Dutch government actually funds the primary and secondary schools here, as well as vocational courses. So the education here in this country is mostly free. But if there's any additional fees that needs to be paid or required by school, then that we pay contributions of. For example, like camping or day out trips of our kids. Then we pay a minimum or very minimal amount. Like for example, in our case, just for the past couple of years, we've been paying like 70, 80 euros a year for our kids for extra expenses. So that's not a lot, really. Now, for higher education, that tuition is actually not free, but the advantage compared to other countries is that the government has subsidized tuition fee rates to make it more comparatively affordable for people to study higher education here in this country. And apparently this also applies to international students. And that's why thousands of international students come to study here in the Netherlands. Also, they offer some study programs here in English. And in fact, when I was doing my master's class at the VUMC, out of 20 of us in our class, 5 were actually non-Dutch. And I know that it sounds like a big percent, but that depends actually on the course or the study program that you're in. But that also because we live in the Randstad, or a metropolis or a large city here in this country, then you expect a lot more of international people living here than in other parts of the country. And the number 1 reason why I love living here in the Netherlands, the Dutch are tolerant people. They say that the Dutch have always been free thinkers, liberals, and tolerant folks. And whether this was rooted from their history of wars and giving refuge to people, or because of their skill in trade, and whether it's being threatened nowadays by rhetorics of certain groups, generally speaking, the one main reason I love living here in the Netherlands is because the Dutch are tolerant. There's this spirit of live and let live. So no matter from which country you're from which group you identify with, or whatever your sexual orientation is, or how you worship, that does not really matter as much, so long as you respect each other's way of life. They respect your opinion, and they also respect the way you live. So as long as you're not harming others, and of course the expectation is that you also respect their way of life, then there is harmony. There is also more freedom to raise your kids the way you want. Now, of course, for a person like me, we Filipinos were very conservative. The Philippines is primarily a Catholic country. There are still challenges raising our kids here, having so much freedom compared to if I would be raising our kids in my home country. But then that's a different story to tell. But generally speaking, I am glad to know that as a buitenlander or an immigrant, there is comfort in knowing that our Dutch friends and neighbors are generally tolerant of us living here in their country. So those are the top 10 reasons why I love living here in the Netherlands. And as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is one main reason, or one big reason, why I love living here in this country. And that is that because, generally speaking, the Dutch also speak English. Now, compared to other countries here in Europe, to accommodate you, they speak English instead. But that does not mean that they do not appreciate you try to speak in their own language, which is Dutch. And so thankfully, I can converse a little bit, having lived here for quite some time now. But I'm still very thankful that if I have difficulties trying to express myself, then I can easily switch to the English language and they'll be able to understand. So that is also one reason why I like living here in this country. So do you have other reasons why you like living here in the Netherlands? Please share that with us here on the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you happen to like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you again next time here on Pinay Mom's Vlogs. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye! Hi guys, thanks for watching our video. If you'd like to see more episodes of Pinay Mom's Vlogs, please click on any of the links up ahead, or you can subscribe to our channel to see more episodes every week. Thanks, bye for now!